How was yours, man? The Batman stir or whatever.
It tasted really weird, actually, but I'm glad we ate it.
Yeah, I don't know if I can agree with that, man. I'm glad I ate it. That's like my 50th time going to the bathroom.
Oh man, yeah, I did feel kind of weird, like I'm dying almost somehow.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure it's nothing.
Yeah, last time I went in there, my organs were in the toilet.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, so I think I'm fucked. Oh.
Ah!
Hey, now that we're dead, let's try these guns out on each other.
Dude, this is awesome!
Man, Matt, you are a mess. I've seen Meatloaf that looks better than you.
You're not exactly a Forest Lawn poster child either, Mike. Hey, we really trashed their ass, didn't we?
That's asses, Matt.
Hey, Matt, you think we'll be reincarnated?
As what?
I don't know, maybe you get a choice. You can be whatever you want.
You mean like a statesman or a president or a prize-winning novelist?
Personally, I like to come back as a podcaster's Mike.
Now that is truly inspiring.
Thank you.
You know what, Mike?
What?
This could be the end of a beautiful friendship.
Just an ordinary drive on just another day, cruising down that road, nothing standing in your way.
Well, here we are, another year. Another year? I can try it again. Or not.
Welcome to 2023.
Buddy Shots 111. Zombie Week. I'm in heaven. I'm gonna send you to hell before I send you to heaven. It's like, what? Drag you to hell match.
You have such wonders to show me. In Zombie Week.
Man. So you ready for this? Weird watches?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
A little too weird.
That's true. So yeah, this week was the
Mike Week.
Yeah, true. Zombie Week, as we've already stated, but it's Kingdom for Weird Watches and Dead Heat for the feature presentation.
Yeah.
And both actual zombie films. First true zombie week.
That's true.
So had you ever heard of this show or whatever?
I had never heard of it.
Okay. I think the reason why
Which is the best kind of weird
I
watch.
hadn't heard of it. Well,
What?
I hadn't heard of it, but I fucking picked it on accident. I'm like, next week let's let's just look for a show called The Kingdom. Hopefully it exists. No, I hadn't heard of it for a long time, but then recently when I was looking through
Your whole life you hadn't heard of it.
Yeah.
The longest time.
Yeah. For the longest. Well,
I hope you had the
especially
longest time of your life.
Because this is when it came out. I think a lot of people probably didn't see it. Maybe I don't know if it was popular or not, but it came out on Netflix, so that's usually kind of depending. It's either everybody has seen it or nobody has seen it on Netflix because things get buried so much. I don't even have Netflix anymore, or do I? But I mean, Cobra Kai. So, but that show also had a huge following before it went to Netflix. Same thing with a bunch of their other shows, except for Stranger Things. That's the only show I know that started on Netflix and actually just got bigger on Netflix. Everything else it's very weak.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so this show is about I'm unclear where it takes place. I think it takes place in ancient Korea or something maybe. But
I'm not sure. It doesn't really say.
Yeah, but it's apparently, but it's kind of the king of the kingdom gets sick, and then they're trying to figure out where's he at and stuff, and these dudes are essentially saying oh, he's fine, but then at the very end you see evidence that there's zombies and stuff have taken over because of this plague or whatever, and that's kind of where the first episode ends. So
It is gross.
yeah. What'd you think of it?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't super into it, to be honest.
I think it doesn't help because like something like this is like, I think it was like an hour maybe or something like that, and it's not something you can just put on and kind of like you have to pay attention the whole time because it's in subtitles. There's no dub version that I know of, so you have to pay attention, which you have to definitely be in the mood for. Cause
I always pay
it's
attention, full attention to everything we watch. That's the Matt pledge.
Well, you've already broken that.
We also penalize shows by watching the first episode because
Yeah.
like this is all set up. It probably
Yeah.
gets better, as it goes.
Right.
But like, it's a lot of setup, and it's always frustrating in shows when like we all know it's a zombie show. There's no mystery, but all the characters are like figuring it out. So the audience is way ahead of the characters, which is always frustrating.
I think that's probably like my biggest complaint about this show. Like I liked a lot of stuff about it. Like it looked like they actually put money into it. And
it looks
like,
very good. It's well made.
Yeah, and it looks very like this could be like a movie. I was like, holy crap, this looks really good. But like in the music and like the tension, like when the guy almost like thinks he sees a zombie and then it's not there, like that was like, I was like, man, this is like Resident Evil 1 the game style. This is actually good horror. But then, like you said, they kind of like jerk the curtain too much on the first episode, and they don't give you like the actual like meat until the end. And when it happens, it's awesome.
Pun intended.
But it's over. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
I know it's supposed to make you want to watch more episodes, but like the hook was already there. You didn't need to like jerk the curtain to make people watch more episodes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Also, there weren't any really compelling characters to sink your teeth into.
I think the only people that I really liked were like the prince and his friend that were like, or not friend, the guy I guess he was extorting that was like the Abraham Lincoln hat dude.
Those hats were cool.
Yeah, but that was a cool friendship because it also, or like a dynamic, because it kind of reminded me of like a Jackie Chan movie where like there's two characters that are kind of like they have like a comedy moment and stuff because the guy's like, he's like, I'm not gonna sneak in, I'm not gonna do it, and he's like, tonight they have like meat cakes or something, and he was like, oh. So it's like stuff like that.
I appreciated a little bit of humor.
Yeah, and that's when I was like, oh, dude, this is actually... But then there's stuff where it's like, they're like whipping and like torturing like scholars and stuff, and I'm like to try to like cover up that like, I guess the king is dead, and it's like, all this first episode could have been like 30 minutes, and then like the rest of the episode could have been, holy crap, we like zombies, and then that's off to the races. Like you said, I liked it, but I also, like you said, I didn't like how, I mean, like a lot of pilots do this, which is so sad because it's like they take like a cool idea and then kind of like waste it.
Can I just say I find it sad that you had to say Resident Evil 1 the game? You had to clarify. So sad.
Well, if I didn't, it's like Resident Evil 1, and then it's like, wait, the movie?
The movie that everyone loves.
Or the animated movie, or the remake of that, or...
Yeah. It was an interesting choice.
Yeah.
I mean, it was very effective because, like, when the people are all getting sick and turning into zombies at the end,
Dude,
like,
that
it was
was, like...
very unpleasant and disgusting to watch.
When the lady gets, like, essentially they're all, like, crawling over her to get a taste of the raw pink meat. I thought that was, like you said, but, like, the problem is, like, they waste a lot of time on the setup when it's not, like, a... Maybe, like, when this first came out, but, like, even then, like, Netflix puts, like, all their episodes usually up at once, and they also, like, put descriptions of what the show's about, so it's not like it was ever a mystery, you know what I mean? Like, like, I kind of like the idea of, like, mysteries and I mean, well, I like mysteries, but not when it's, like, at the expense of, like, the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Obviously, like, the reason why zombies ever work is because, like, nobody, like, believes that they're, something like that's actually happened. And so they take over before, like, people can get a hold on it or believe that it's real. But, like, here it's, like, the zombies really aren't affecting much because this is, like, the super onset of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked when they had zombies, and I liked, like, I don't know. I liked a lot about it, but I also didn't like how they kind of wasted some of the time they had, like you said, with the pilot. So interesting.
Yeah.
we'll see. Like you said, I think this is a show that probably gets better as it goes on, because like they end the episode where like the dudes are about to ride off to find out like what happened in this other city and stuff, and then there's dudes riding after them to like kill them. So it's kind of like a race, but it's like that should have been like the middle of the episode. Anyway, so yeah, that was Kingdom 2019. I guess there's like there's another movie that came out the exact same year that's also like, I don't know what kind of movie it is, but it's like
called Kingdom.
Yeah,
horrible title, by the way.
Yeah, I think it fits for the show, but I don't really know what.
It doesn't really grab you. Hey, you want to watch that new show? Kingdom.
Yeah,
it's like that movie.
I mean, you can say that about anything, though.
Not anything.
Yeah, even Dead Heat. I didn't want to watch it, but I did. A lot of things I feel like you can say that about, honestly. It just depends.
Not snakes on a plane. I wanted to see those snakes.
That's true.
On that plane.
I actually didn't want to see that movie, but I think I watched it at your house.
It sucked.
Yeah. So, yeah. Don't watch that movie.
Instead, watch Dead Heat? Question mark?
Instead, watch Kingdom, the movie. So, okay, let's get on to the main event here, I guess, then.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. So, I think we'd both heard of this movie before.
Yeah, I'd heard of it.
This is one of those odd ones where we had heard of it before, and we'd both known of it for probably a while, but like we'd never decided to ever watch it.
Yeah, nothing really compelled me to watch it over the years. But then when you got that Blu-ray,
it was that damn title.
I became very like interested in it for some reason. So I really either wanted to see it or I wanted you to see it and tell me how it was.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we watched it.
Yeah. Wait, we watched it? Shit!
You're dead meat.
I'm dead meat because I didn't watch Dead Heat. So, I just read this, but apparently this movie was released in the Philippines as Iron Cops.
Okay. Weird.
Speaking of a inappropriate title. So, this came out in '88. I'll describe what they say this is. American buddy cop action zombie comedy film. That's pretty accurate.
Yeah, I think I saw a comment online. Someone said, like, this is the best zombie buddy cop movie ever made.
Yeah,
can't argue with
that. Directed by Mark Goldblatt and starring Treat Williams, Joe Piscopo, Darren McGavin, Lindsay Frost, and Vincent Price. The film is about an LAPD police officer who is murdered while attempting to arrest zombies who have been reanimated by the head of Dante Laboratories in order to carry out violent armed robberies, and decides to get revenge with the help of his former partner. I don't know why they say former. They're still partners, right? I guess once you die, the police are like, nope. So, yeah. This is the only movie I've ever... Actually, this is the only thing I've ever seen all the way through with Joe Piscopo in it.
Yeah.
Joe Piscopo was, like, hot off of SNL when he... Or hot, you know, in SNL doing this movie. And
yeah, believe it or not, there was a short period of time where Joe Piscopo was, like, the star of SNL.
Yeah. And, like, watching... Like, I watched all the special features. Good God.
Oh, yeah? I want to know.
It is a little boring. But we'll go over it at the end here.
Right.
Because I wrote down not extensive notes, but notes that were, you know... But, like...
but then Joe Piscopo, like, he became a punchline over the years. And I don't, like... He's not great, but I don't hate him.
Yeah.
And I
don't really have anything, like, against him, because this is the only thing I've ever seen him in, and...
I've seen him in Sidekicks, which he's really good at, but he's basically playing like a villain in a kid's movie, which is perfect for him. And then I think you would really like Johnny Dangerously, because
I actually had that on my list to do.
And
honestly,
it's a funny movie.
He needs a movie where, like, unless this already exists, but he needs a movie where he just literally plays a bunch of characters doing impressions.
That's Sidekicks.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because, like, my biggest thing about Joe Piscopo in this movie is, like, he makes all these jokes, but, like...
And 1% of them are funny.
I don't think I laughed one time.
I think he got me on one of them. But that's bad.
Yeah. But I guess I'll go ahead and one over the...
Yeah.
That wasn't a fucking sentence! Like, words came out of my mouth and none of them were connected to what the fuck I was talking about. So, like, in the special features, they talk about, like, oh, yeah, with, like, Treat Williams, you know, he was on script and everything, and I guess Joe Piscopo, they let him just kind of riff, and it shows.
Big mistake.
A lot of the shit is not good. Which is weird, because, like, he's best known for doing impressions, and they're, like, in the special features, that was the only time I laughed in the entire thing, is he does a part where they're kind of, like, all, like, dude, this is a grueling shoot and stuff, and he makes, like, Treat Williams and all these people laugh, because he does, like, a Jerry Lewis impression.
Nice.
And it's really, really good. And everybody's, like, cracking up and stuff. But it's like, what the hell? Why weren't they letting him do that crap? But I have to give a shout out. Like, I thought the theme for this, like, movie was really good. But they only play it, like, at the end of the fucking movie once it's over.
Yeah. I guess I kind of missed that.
It's like at the very end,
Yeah.
and it's usually that's when everybody turns the fucking movie off. But, like,
It's funny you mentioned that because I thought the score was like horrible in this movie. I was just
wanting
more.
The only thing that was really stood out was, like, once the movie was over, they play, like, the song called just Dead Heat by Phil Settle, I guess, that he made for this, and it's, like,
Nice.
pure 80s, and it's really good, but
Yeah.
it was like,
I love
why the
that.
hell wasn't this in the title too? Like, this was just like, I don't know. So yeah, I don't know, I thought the effects in this were pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm coming out negative, but overall, like, this movie was pretty entertaining, I thought. I just wish it could have been better, you know?
I thought that,
The
like,
effects were, they were awesome.
the best part of this movie, I think, were the effects for sure. And, like, some of the lines in this movie are a little weird, like, when the robbers are, like, taking the jewels, the guy he says, cheap old bitch to this lady. And then there's one where he says, want to be dead? Here's your chance of a lifetime. I'm like, then they transition to ape-looking Joe Piscopo drumming on the car. I was like, dude, this guy's like Funky Kong over here. He was like, I was cracking
The movie
up.
starts out pretty strong because, like, what happened? He was eating, like, a hot dog, I think? And at one point, the hot dog, like, squirted out of the
I don't
bun or
really
something?
understand what the fuck
couldn't
was
tell.
what he was eating. What was going on there? Did you spot a mustache Robert Picardo?
Definitely.
Yeah, he's their
How
superior.
pumped were you when you saw him show up?
I was like, well, I went into IMDb before I watched the movie.
Oh, so you knew he was coming?
And I saw him, and I was like, this better be right, because sometimes on IMDb they put people in movies that aren't actually in the movie.
Yeah, or their scenes were deleted.
Yeah,
But they're still
it's like,
credited.
come on. But yeah, he's
That was a pleasant surprise.
He's sadly in it, not a lot, but he's in, like, this shootout scene
Yeah.
where, like, these dudes get, like, blown up and, like, shot and stuff. And, like, at first I was like, what the fuck is going on here? They're not, like, killing these dudes. And I was like, squad of cops can't kill two men. These robbers. What the fuck? And then I was like, oh, wait, they're zombies. Like, that's when they kind of were like... What do you think about their masks? They're wearing, like, Resident Evil fucking axe executioner masks for some reason. I'd never seen something like that in a movie. Well, not in a movie, but, like, in a... Dudes were robbing. I'm like, dudes were robbing.
Dudes be robbing.
So, then one of the robber drops a grenade and says... Uh-oh!
That was so funny.
Blows himself up! Which I found out, remember when I sent you the thing that was like, check out this fucking dummy action? Those weren't fucking dummies. In the special features, the guy talks about, they had this thing above both of them. Those were like life-size marionettes.
What?
So they were like,
Dude.
making them like...
That is awesome.
Yeah. I was like, holy shit.
I love
so
that.
like... So when, like, the thing, like, turned and it, like, got crushed or whatever, that was, like, a fucking huge puppet.
That is so cool, dude. I
Yeah.
love
But, yeah, they fucking, like, ram this dude into this other car, and he just is like, it's like, when that kid with the Mike Myers mask and, like Halloween 2
gets annihilated.
and he, like, burns to death. Well, I'm sure he was already dead, but...
Ben Tramer.
Yeah. It's like, huh? Why was he wearing that mask and that same shit?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to dress up as a known killer. Well, not known. I guess it just happened. But you're under arrest, and you have the right to remain disgusting. I was like, okay. So then we have the copy-paste boss yelling at them in their office, like their cop boss. that like
gotta have that in
they
your
make
buddy
fun
cop
of
movie.
in like in like Lethal Weapon or like Loaded Weapon or whatever.
Yeah, and Last Action Hero.
Yeah, but like in a lot of movies, it's like they go in. He's like, I should have your badge for this and all this other crap. It's like, okay, dude. So then like the dad from Christmas Story and the Night Stalker himself, Darren McGavin, shows up as the coroner. I always know him, from like Christmas Story or whatever. Like I think that's his most well-known thing for me, because we used to watch that all the time. But obviously, recently we watched the Night Stalker show, and he's in that. He's also, I think, he was in 2 movies before that were the like Night Stalker and the Night Strangler, which is the same character. Death Wish. So then I guess we should talk about Treat Williams. I'd never seen him in any movie, and I didn't really know anything about this guy. So I don't really know. I thought he was fine in this movie. I don't know. I didn't really know anything about him or what else he's been in.
I've seen him in a few things. He's always like, I think he's pretty generic and kind of bland, but he's fine in this.
I think he does a good performance because he starts off as kind of bland, but then towards the end, like they were saying, it was kind of funny because like as he's like dying, he gets more becomes more like life. Like he gets more life into him because he starts off and he's like just like, like Dragnet style, like Dan Aykroyd's character, where he's like by the book, just kind of like and then by the end he's like a punk essentially.
He's in a really good movie called Prince of the City, which I think is one of his most like well-known movies, and it's a great movie. He plays like a dirty cop, who, like his like web of lies unravels over the course of the movie, and he's great in that.
He's like my web of lies.
So yeah, Prince of the City.
Wait a second here.
I did want to call out. I watched this movie on Tubi, which is by far the best streaming service in the land.
I don't think I've ever heard of Tubi before.
Dude, it's awesome.
Or wait, no, I have heard of Tubi. What am I talking about?
It has a huge selection of movies and it's free. So it's like, what's not to like?
Does it have ads?
Shout out! It does have ads.
That's cool though.
But basically, any movie that like you'd see in the video store shelves in the 80s and 90s, it has. Like,
Matt's getting a kickback
sweet
from
spot.
Tubi over here.
Oh, I actually love a streaming service that's about movies.
Well, then you'll love the VFA.
Exactly. And the VFN, I can print out my own VHS tape.
Yeah. I mean, generally, if I'm going to watch a movie, I'll just like hunt it down somewhere. But yeah, that's legit. YouTube has a lot of stuff too.
Yeah,
like,
YouTube's pretty good.
Uploaded crap. But... So I don't know. My note here is like I like Treat Williams is pretty good, but I have a note here that says Joe Piscopo. I don't know if maybe I was just not liking it at the moment. Joe Piscopo isn't funny at all in this. He's like this kid in school that's trying to like way too hard to make everyone laugh.
That pretty much nails the Joe Piscopo experience.
But like, I don't have anything against him. It was just watching it. I was like, this is supposed to be the funny guy, but he's not really that funny.
He's more annoying than anything else. You're just like, dude, shut up. Like, do you have to have a quip about everything that happens in the movie?
Like I know this is annoying. Like a comedy kind of thing, but it's like,
I'm not surprised that it was all ad-libbed either.
Yeah. We've got like a fight with a biker monster.
So what was the deal with that dude?
So like I found out in the special features that like they originally wanted like a zombie with like no face. And then, like, the guy that was making all the effects for this movie, like, that did all this stuff, was like, what if I did 3 faces? That would be even more horrifying. So I guess that was, like, his whole thing.
But I didn't understand, how it happened.
But also,
it was
like,
cool looking.
They did, like, what was it, like, that one scene where the 2 dudes shoot each other forever? Yeah. That was supposed to go on for, like, a whole minute or something.
Dude.
But they, like, cut it, because the director also talks about how like the studio interfered a lot with the movie and made him cut out a lot more like graphic stuff.
It sucks.
But like one of the things is like, man, it was so much funnier when it literally just went on back and forth like for a minute, because it was clearly like, they can't kill each other, so they're just shooting. And like in the Vinegar Syndrome thing, they like reinterpreted what it was like, with the footage, and like I was watching it, and at first it wasn't really that funny, but like after like a bit, I was cracking up laughing because it literally
That's amazing.
was just the same footage over and over again. And it was like the thing with Monty Python where the guy's running up and then he like runs up again. It was like so ridiculous. It's like, why did they? Yeah, it's like they had to cut that because of the studio, and it's like so stupid.
I'm glad those days are gone, dude.
Yeah.
But that was my favorite part of the whole movie. Like when that happened,
Yeah.
I was like, it was awesome. It was worth watching the whole movie just for that one part. I've never seen that before in a movie.
Where two dudes just shoot each other.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd say it's worth watching the whole movie. But
It was. I loved it.
I'd say watch that clip.
You mentioned the director's Mark Goldblatt.
Yes.
Who he only directed like 2 or 3 movies.
Yeah, he did a lot of shit though with editing.
Yeah, he's
he
like a
edited-
master editor on-
James Cameron like was like, hey, come over here and like edit all my movies.
Yeah, and I think as I was watching this was my biggest complaint was like, I kept thinking about what if John Carpenter directed this movie.
Yeah.
And how good it would have been. Like,
Yeah.
Because this movie came out the same year as They Live, which is also a
Yeah.
super silly premise, but like
Right.
that movie's a masterpiece.
Well, so it's like Big Trouble in Little China. Like
Yeah.
all of his movies are pretty silly, but like.
But
they
this movie is
they-
just
they
like
work.
kind of cheap looking and bland and like
Not to like crap on him, but I think he's like a great editor and like not a great director. Like I
I think that's why he went back to editing.
Yeah, and like, cause like even the guy that edited this movie was saying how he was kind of pissed, not pissed, but he was kind of like he was editing, and then like he showed up and literally just started doing that.
Oh,
It's
really?
like why didn't he just edit the movie and not direct it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of evident.
It kind of looked like a direct-to-video movie to me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was a shame.
The restored looks great,
Really?
like for the Vinegar Syndrome,
Nice.
but like especially when you compare to the unrestored footage, it looks like shit. So he like died, and then like because like he's in this I don't know what the hell it's like pressure chamber or something, and he's like he died the way dogs are supposed to die, and I was like, what? Did they used to fucking invert dogs or something?
He died like a dog.
He died like an Uncle Dow. Like, why didn't they? I don't know. I guess they used to like decapitate people with fucking like guillotines. So, horrible acting scene from Joe the Soul. Becky, what about the soul? Like when they were fucking gonna revive him. I was like, oh my god, what is this? I honestly was waiting for to be some joke there, but there wasn't, and I was like. Because essentially he dies and they put him in this like chamber or whatever, and they're gonna like bring him back, and he's like, they're like, we can bring him back, and he's like, but what about the soul, Becky? What about the soul? And she's like, well, they thought about that too, and I'm like, first of all, like, why would you even think to like say something like that?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so like, I guess he believes in souls and like the like. All that kind of stuff, which is fine, but it's like for that to be the first person, and then she goes along with it too. She'd be like, but it's also they have no problem in bringing him back to life, like no moral quandaries here.
Yep.
But they like Frankenstein his ass back to life, which the effects on that were Terminator stuff. Like it was stuff that the effects guy had worked on with Terminator and the other
Oh, nice.
a bunch of other movies, like the lightning and stuff. It was actually for another movie that they used in Terminator and stuff because like James Cameron wasn't happy with the effects, so he asked that guy. He's like, "Hey, can we like have your lightning effects?" Because
Cool.
they got it from the old Frankenstein like equipment, and they set up the arc reactor and all that stuff, and like just filmed a
that's
bunch
awesome.
of stuff on black background. So it was like back before I could just download it off the internet in like 5 seconds, like search lightning effect green screen, you know, and it looks great. Like you had to have the actual source stuff.
Yeah.
But no heartbeat. He's faking it. I was like, what? When he said that,
That's
I was
actually a
like,
pretty funny line.
what kind of trick is this? So I thought this was kind of weird because, like, I mean, obviously the whole movie's like whatever. It's like a joke and it's like, you know, weird, but if we're going by this logic of like she like looked into the files and was like, oh, they found a way to like restore the soul and stuff, but she didn't see anything that like he would decay. Like they're like, oh, by the way, you're gonna fucking turn into mush in like 3 days or something, or 24 hours or whatever it is. She's like, so I looked through all this shit, but I didn't see this because he was like, how did this happen? It's like, what? Also, like, I have to ask you this question. I might be missing something here, so you might you might have like understood this better than me. Like, why did they stop for him to get lipstick and put it on? He puts it on in one scene, and then like it doesn't have any bearing on the movie, and it also like doesn't fix anything. It doesn't like stop him from like decomposing. I thought maybe at first his lips were falling apart, but they're not. So literally he just goes to like a store and they buy like red lipstick, he puts it on, and then he like wipes it off the next scene.
I think it's just that was the first time where he noticed like he looked like a dead body,
but like he didn't.
His lips were like white. They were like they had no. His face lost color. I think
for like 5 seconds, and then like nothing happened after that.
That's what I took out of it, anyways.
I thought that's what it was supposed to be, but it didn't come across that way at all. Like that's why I was kind of like, "What's going on here?" Because he like looks in the mirror and it's like his lips aren't moving, and I'm like, "Okay, like are your lips fucked up?" And then it was just like, I don't know.
Put it on the IMDb, Goofs. You messed up. Dead heat.
So they had a jump scare in the mirror. That's always something that you gotta have in a movie.
Yep, another cliche.
Two chopping stuff, no shirt on. Yeah, so this guy's like...
This was my other favorite scene in the movie. Like, the butcher shop attack scene was awesome, dude.
Yeah, this
was great.
Another scene that they were talking about on the... what's it called? Like, special features. About, like, how they did that and all that crap.
That was really cool.
Asian guy, are these your... So, what... Okay. You had to have noticed this ADR at this point, because he goes in like a stereotypical like Asian guy, like he does like some sort of accent where he's like, "Are these your friends?" Like, then the ADR kicks in and it's got to be somebody else, and it says the police detectives. It's like not his fucking voice at all. I was like, what? I was cracking up. I had to like watch it like 4 times.
Sloppy.
Yeah. Dead animals come to life and jump on Joe.
That was great.
Dude gets his finger sliced. This was a good line, but it was not from Joe Piscopo. Hey, you're hurt. Lady, I'm fucking dead.
Nice writing.
Yeah, I was like, that should have just been on the poster.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the poster for this is so uninspiring. You can't even tell.
Is it this one?
A zombie movie, yeah.
It's like crappy.
What the fuck is that? Joe Piscopo never makes that face in the movie, I don't think.
Did like a 5th grader put that together? It looks so crappy.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like he's like,
huh?
So the more I kind of watched this, the more I felt or thought that like Treat Williams kind of sounded like Brian O'Halloran, Dante from Clerks, a little bit in some of these scenes.
Okay.
I don't know if this is supposed to be a joke from Joe Piscopo. Anything's possible. But he says, it's amazing the people that died in the last 3 months. People I never even heard of. I went... like, well, he says it like it's supposed to be a joke, but like, that's the thing that's weird. He says these jokes like they're supposed to be jokes, but like nobody laughs. And
that's the Piscopo effect.
But the problem is like no one in the audience laughs either. So it's not like he's like saying it and they're playing straight. It's just like no one's laughing. So it's not a joke, is it? I guess a joke is still a joke if nobody laughs. But
I saw a clip where like back when he was at the height of his popularity, he was on like Letterman or Leno or one of those, and like doing exactly this, like saying horrible jokes, and it was like so awkward to watch because like he's whiffing whiff after whiff.
I also feel bad because I'm not here to shit on Joe Piscopo, but I'm just telling it like it is.
Yeah, you can't deny that like it's not good, dude.
So when reflecting on his mortality, nobody's got all the time they need. I was like, that's actually not a bad line.
Yeah,
to tell you the truth, like there's like parts in this movie that like are actually like shockingly not bad. Like I'm like, holy crap, this was actually pretty good. And then he's slowly decomposing.
Yeah, that's why that was what I was. I just there's enough in this movie to like. Yeah. I just wish it was better. It could have been so much better. Maybe recast the 2 leads.
Never. Yeah. Well, you know what? I actually have a thing about that later on here when I said, holy shit. This movie would have been great if it was Martin Kove and Thomas Ian Griffith.
Dude,
But I say that about every fucking
You do?
watch. And it's always true, though. Because, like, later on in the
Lance
film,
Henriksen
he
is
kind
the
of...
villain?
Dude. Honestly, didn't hate, like, the one dude being the villain. He was good.
Vincent Price, the
Yeah.
legend. The thriller himself.
And, like, what's his face? Like, what's the one villain? The dad from Christmas Story? So... This had to have been, like, there was just gotta be some, like, scenes that, like, just they never shot that would have made a lot more sense to me. So they're looking around this place, and they randomly just find fucking Joe Piscopo drowned. He's, like, upside down in a fucking fish tank or something, and I'm like, wasn't he supposed to be, like, doing something else? And then he's fucking dead randomly. I didn't even know that's who it was supposed to be at first, but they said, oh no, Doug. Like, they don't really give a shit, but they're like, oh no, Doug. And then I'm like, wait, Doug's the name of Joe Piscopo's character, right?
Doug Bigelow.
Yeah, and then I was... Roger Mortis, not Rigor Mortis.
Yeah. That was so dumb, dude.
But
Roger Mortis, come on.
I just didn't get it. I was like, what? Like, I don't know. I still was I was shocked that literally they just killed off the other lead randomly. Not only that, but, like, you don't even see it happen. They just walk into their room and he's fucking drowned.
Maybe they forgot to film that, and then, like, the last day, they're like, oh, crap.
That's what I thought. Like, I thought that maybe they just forgot to put a scene where they show him go and get killed, but instead he's just like, bang. It was pretty funny, though. They have a cool rotting hand effect, and then her, like, head falls off. That was awesome. So, like, in the thing, they say that that's reversed. So, like, it started off, like, nasty, and then, like, they sprayed, like, airbrush makeup onto it to cover it up, and then reversed it. I love that stuff, man. That's and then, so like, for the head, when it, like, talks, they filmed her, like, doing the thing, and they had to, like, transpose it. That was a little bit easier to figure out because it was, you know,
it still looked really cool.
It was that old effect, where it's kind of like, okay, this isn't like, you know.
Yeah, you're right. The special effects in this movie are top notch.
Yeah.
And the squibs.
Yeah.
There's so many good squib action.
Rotting corpse and head rolling effect. Then it's a skull, and she still talks.
I love it.
I think we already talked about this, like, before this, but, like, Treat Williams looks and sounds like John Kreese, essentially from this point forward in the movie.
I can see it.
When he nabs, or when he confronts McNabb, and McNabb has a fucking license plate that says Body Doc. I was like, what? ADR, holy shit. Some random dude just screams that off screen. So then we've got, I guess, like, her friend is already dead in the ambulance, but they're going down the thing, and he's like, oh, yeah! And he, like, freaking they crash. It's so ridiculous.
That was cool.
Yeah. So Vincent Price is back. Like, you're like... And then some one dude tries to, like, outpace Joe Piscopo for, like, the worst actor award here. The old man that's like, I saw you buried. I was like, dude, don't quit your day job. But...
Vincent Price is one of his final roles.
Yeah.
As Arthur P. Loudermilk.
Yeah. He says, poor people are supposed to die. God wants us to live forever. And even if he doesn't, you can always buy him off. It's like such an evil asshole thing to say and roll. It's like, it's just like a great thing that, like, somebody would want to do is, like, an actor play a ridiculous thing like that. So this is the funny, like you said, the funny part, zombie versus zombie shoot off forever, that, like, they sadly it doesn't go on forever. Dude, I was cracking the fuck up though at this part where, like, they're about to, like, kill McNabb, the fucking dad from Christmas Story, and he's like, oh no, you won't get me, and he fucking blows his own head off with a gun. I thought that was hilarious. Yep. I was like, what the fuck? He's like, boom. And then they, like, bring...
Checkmate.
Yeah. Then they bring him back to life. And they're like, what happens? You want to see what happens if you get resurrected twice? And he's like, not really. And they like do it, and he just blows up.
That was great.
I was like,
yeah, both those moments, I was like, this is awesome.
yeah,
You don't see that too often where the main villain just kills himself. Like,
yeah. Not only that, but then like the fucking heroes, I guess
get to double kill him.
yeah,
That
or
great.
that they even kill him in the first place.
Yeah.
Like I said, end song, too good for this movie. It's really, really good.
I have to go back and listen.
Yeah. So great transfer. Movie looks awesome. So I guess we'll go over, like I said, some of the stuff here. So the first one I watched was called The Building Blocks of Movies, interview with director Mark Goldblatt. It was 25 minutes long. Director talks about him becoming a movie maker and director. Any little job he did. GTA was the first film that he got into movie making with like Ron Howard and stuff. Okay. Then he went on to Piranha, Humanoids from the Deep, The Howling, editor for The Terminator, Rambo First Blood Part 2, which he co-wrote, or which was co-written by James Cameron, or Jim Cameron as he calls him. And then he did Commando.
He was a legend.
With Arnold, yeah. That's when I was like, holy shit. A break in directing, Dead Heat. This is like kind of his first directing deal. Comedy and horror, you have to walk a thin line, and I think we did a great job. I was like, kind of. Based on a 40s movie called DOA. We got Treat Williams, who I love, and Joe Piscopo was on off SNL, wanted him to try something different. I'm like, okay. Maybe an actor forgot his lines, maybe the sun went away. Like, that's one of the things he said as far as challenges. Film shot in 35 days, budget was tight. Director almost passed out on the first day. Out of the 3 days of shooting for Vincent Price, they got him back for free. He like came back for free to do like pickup shots.
Dude, good man.
Treat was committed to his part, and then there was no comment about Joe Piscopo. I guess apparently Treat Williams would come into like the editing room and like just he actually was like really committed to like the movie and stuff.
Cool.
Joe would come up with some improv. I said it shows. Lighting effects for Reanimator machine was from the Terminator. Reanimator, for like the, what's it called? Frankenstein. Let's see. If more people had known what it was, it would have done better. I'm like,
maybe.
So then we've got 1,000 Feet of Lighting, interview with visual effects artist Ernest Farino, 15 minutes. Main title effect for Terminator. He did effects also for like that and The Abyss. He did some stuff for Pillsbury Doughboy commercials, Galaxy of Terror, rotoscope animation, laser beams and stuff like that. Starship Troopers, Tesla coil stuff shot outside, which was used in Aliens and stuff like that. Head that walks was a nightmare to do, like the head that like rolls away and stuff. He was like, that was a nightmare, but it was like, he was talking about like, he's like, I love all these effects and stuff like that, and I was like, yeah, I totally agree. I was like, so seizing the opportunity, interview with a second unit director, Patrick Reed Johnson. This was only like 6 minutes. They interject with this and ask, so he was like talking for like 3 minutes without really saying anything, like getting to the point. And they're like, so what were we responsible for in Dead Heat? And he was like, the butcher shop scene. And he didn't really kind of go into too much detail, which was kind of a shame.
That was a great scene.
Yeah. How to edit for an editor, interview with editor Harvey Rosenstock. He did Serpico, Dog Day Afternoon. Then he worked for Canon. Treat Williams praise. Mark, the director, came into the editing room and showed his stuff. Doesn't sound happy about it. Crisp, great editing, jump cuts. This guy, he kind of went back and forth from like kissing his ass to being like he wasn't happy. He was kind of stepping on his shit. This guy says his favorite editors are Dee Allen, Mark Goldblatt, Jerry Greenberg. The Last Boy Scout makes an appearance here. I guess he worked on that.
Cool.
Happy Accidents Happen. So this is a composer, Ernest Troost. Told to leave out trumpets for the fucking it's just random. Music Downhill, written in key of Dude's Scream.
Okay.
So this is the best feature in my opinion by far. Dead and Alive, an archival interview with makeup effects creator Steve Johnson. 19 minutes. So he talks about how he worked on Night of the Demons and then went into Dead Heat. I was like, hell yeah. He says 80s was awesome time for effects. They trusted I would show up in 3 months and kick ass, because I guess he bullshitted his way and said, like, yeah, no, this and stuff. Bank robbery scene with life-size marionettes. Treat was a joy to work with. Hates, treats, later zombie makeup. Okay, so, like, as the shit goes on, like, he's not a fan of, like, the later treat makeup he did.
Really?
Like, now, he's like, I look at it now and I hate it. Mm-hmm. And he's like, but back then, everybody, they all do, like, I guess, like, airbrush makeup. Mm-hmm. And, like, I guess that's something that, like, back then they didn't do. And it was, like, kind of the first.
I thought it looked good. It holds up.
Slowly turns punk as he becomes more and more into zombie. 80s makeup effects. Made an unnecessary life cast of Vincent Price. So I guess, like, he asked.
They put him through that hell.
Yeah, he, like, got him to do all that for no reason. It wasn't using the movie or anything. And I guess he just wanted to make a cast of Vincent Price. And there's some deleted scenes here. A lot of these deleted scenes were, like, alternate takes. But then there was, like, a random scene where he, like, falls asleep and, like, and has a dream that, like, Joe Piscopo comes back to life. And, like, they take him to his death day party, like, that they share. And, like, this skeleton stripper pops out of a cake.
Why they delete that?
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah, it was actually... You couldn't really see shit, though, because it was, like, not restored. So it was... Yeah. So then there's an archival, like, featurette. Treat says, it's disgusting. Then he says, it's a cross... or Piscopo says, it's a cross between RoboCop, Lethal Weapon, and Night of the Living Dead. Joe Piscopo doing Jerry Lewis better than anything he did in the film. And then somebody says, it's camp. So, yeah, that's pretty much all the special features that I kind of...
Cool.
That they mustered. Which is pretty much everything
I'm
on
glad
there.
you... Yeah.
They've got a lot of good stuff on there, and if you're, like, a huge fan, especially of Dead Heat, but if you're a huge fan, you probably already have this Vinegar Syndrome movie. Blu-ray. Good stuff.
Cool, man.
Excuse me. So, what
nice
do you think
choice
about it? What would you give it, I guess?
I'm going to go 6.95.
Hell yeah.
Definitely worth watching. I mean, it was entertaining throughout, for sure. Even if you were cringing it every time Joe Piscopo opened his mouth.
Yeah, this is one of those movies that's, like, obviously, like, 6.95 might sound like it's low, but it's higher than, like, I don't know, like, on the scale it's not low. It's, like, middle of the road. And you didn't go 7.95 for once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it's weird because this movie at times is, like, a 9.95, but other times it's, like, a 0.95. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's, like, a 7.95 for me.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd ever really revisit this unless this is like, I'll probably revisit it later when I'm editing stuff and put stuff in. But like, it's definitely a movie that I would put this on, especially at a Halloween party or if everybody's like hanging out and stuff and you got nothing else going on. Because it's not something that's going to like really, you have to really pay attention to. And it's not something that like, people are going to feel like they need to pay attention to. It's not like you can be like, oh, you're going to miss out on a hidden gem here.
Right.
But it's not like...
But every few minutes you'll see something really cool.
It's not trash either. It's not like, a lot
agree.
of the horror movies we watched back in the day in high school or like some of the movies we watched on this podcast, like fucking Cutthroat Island. But yeah.
Dog.
Cool. So...
It was fun.
Yeah. What about next week, though?
So...
It's always a great... It's always great when the person
I just
picking their movies like...
I wanted to say we did a commentary on Night of the Living Dead recently.
That is true.
A while back. So see that.
While back.
And we're going to watch the movie that was a huge influence on Night of the Living Dead. Carnival of Souls.
Carnival Week.
And then for Weird Watches, we're going to watch a cop show from the 60s starring Leslie Nielsen called The New Breed. And they're connected because they were both out at the same time.
Was this his like phase when he was still trying to do like serious roles?
Oh yeah, this was pre-Airplane.
Yeah.
So
that's so weird.
The New
with
Breed
Leslie
and
Nielsen,
Carnival of Souls.
because he's like one of those guys that like tried so hard to be like serious, but he got super famous by doing comedy, but serious comedy. It's like, what? But he's awesome. I'm sure we'll have a lot to say about that. Cool. Well, I'm happy that we've been doing this podcast for so long, but now that, we've been brought back and we're like immortal, we're going to be doing this podcast forever, dude. We're going to be doing it for millions of years.
From beyond the grave.
Millions of years. 9.95 million years. It's going to be awesome. And I just can't wait for you guys to see what we have in store. So I promise I will never die. What about you?
Same.
Nice.
Okay. Well, I already died once and now I'm back.
Yeah.
And better than ever.
Yeah. Got a knack for making things better. So yeah, I guess we'll see you guys in the next million year episodes.
Bye.
Today